Do I have to use the flag, just the flag for entering the Italian channel?
Okay, so welcome back. Now we're broadcasting. Just in case anyone is here and you don't know from what we said in the morning, this is going to be a presentation of educational resources in English, okay? This time we're not going to translate. It's not going to be the translator because the idea is that there are also language channels. So if you prefer to interact with people in another language, we have available Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. We have people from Greece right here in this channel, but we haven't managed to have enough people to open up a channel only in Greek. So anyone that speaks Greek and English will have to stay here. The Greek channel is there, but I don't think there is anyone. So remember, if you're interested in joining the Spanish, Portuguese, or Italian channels, all that you have to do is go to the website and then click on the link, and then it will open up a Skype channel, and there's going to be people there. We're going to do that in this part of the in this session in the morning, and also at 3:30. At 3:30, there's going to be also language channels, and those of you who want to interact in English, this is the best to do. Okay, whether you are on YouTube or Zoom, you're welcome here. This morning we're going to have Carlos, we're going to have Tomas, we're going to have Jota, and we're going to have Penny. If I mispronounce your names, please open it. Penny, I don't know if it's Penny or Penelope. Sometimes I have the feeling that
it's Penelope. Thank you.
Penelope, did you say?
It's Penelope, not
Penelope. Penelope. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, the same thing. I presume the guys were this morning. And we're going to do the same idea. We're going to take turns. You're going to do a little presentation of your resources, and then eventually we'll go round and ask questions. Remember that this is a relatively small group. Anyone is more than welcome to put their hands up and suggest your questions. Okay. And I like going ladies first. So Penelope, since you put the microphone, so you start, then Jota, then Carlos, and then Tomas. Okay, in that order, I guess is anything. Now, Luis, I'm going to say this in Spanish, yeah? Luis, no tenemos código de traducción para esta porque no estamos haciendo traducción. Hay un canal en español, ¿vale? Entonces, si quieres estar en el canal en español, entra en la página web y verás que en todas las partes se está haciendo. Es muy fácil, ¿vale? Entonces, entras en EduPlat.org, entras en la página de y ahí puedes pinchar en la banderita española y aunque tú estás fuera de España, puedes entenderlo en español. ¿Ok? Sorry about that, guys.
Sí, justamente estaba intentando, pero no encuentro la opción. Estoy en la parte de...
Okay, I'll just put it here in the chat. I have it. Just 1 second, sorry. Apologies again. 1 second. Okay. Are they doing? Okay. Copy and paste and sorry, Zoom. No, there's a lot of information, but obviously that saves time for everyone. But I'm going to paste it now as chat. I'm going to paste here. This is Spanish chat. Okay, just click there and then you go. Okay. So we continue now in English, right? And no translations. Penelope, so if you want to, you can share your screen. If you're sharing any audio, remember that you can put the option sharing your system audio as well. And then we're all ears to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Okay, until I do that, because I had some problem with my PC. And now I'm from the tablet. Okay. I think I can do that. A little words about me. I'm Penelope Vasiliadou. I'm a teacher in Greece. I have a master's degree in special education and in mathematics. And I create teaching resources for 6 years. So, and I post them online on my blog. And I think here is my presentation. You can see that. Okay. I will talk you on this table about multiplications and how we can make them easy for children, even from the second grade. At least in Greece, we teach them on second grade. We start teaching multiplication. And it is well known that multiplication have a different word in Greek, in English, representations. For example, a repeated addition, as you know it. And what we need to make children see is that multiplication is something easy. It's not complex, because when they start with something else, or groups or arrays, sometimes they start to make it very complex in their head, and they don't understand multiplication problems. So we need to start from addition, something they already know. And I have created a package, I'm sorry, that has all the types and of multiplication, and how to do them all together as a package, not I can't find the words, sorry. Just one, it's one separately. So they start from repeated addition. They go to equal groups, and here's my resource. We have examples, and then there is an empty sheet where the teacher can add different multiplications for children to exercise. And with array, there is thing that it is not always on the same line. We have examples, and then there is an empty sheet. I'm sorry.
No, this was just Ernesto had the microphone on, and then he was reproducing also a video, so I turned him off, sorry.
Okay. With arrays, multiple representation of how to teach multiplication with arrays. One is the rows, and we don't have to stay in that. Okay, I have here the rows, and I give an example of 2 rows, 2 or 3, but we can also do this. We have these boxes with little boxes. They have to find the multiplication. It's not always on the same with the same type. For example, 3 to 6 times 6, and 6 times 3, and they can see the difference between the 2 multiplications, but the result is the same. And they can be more creative. For example, they can do high skyscrapers, and draw windows or floors or whatever they want. They can, I don't have it here. There is also one more sheet about making skyscrapers or their own boxes, like in this sheet, and they can write the multiplication on the downside of the sheet, and create the box, or how many boxes, little boxes I have to count, and to make rows. Yes, okay. The skip counting, either all a number line or with these 100 boxes where when they can see also how it is repeated something. For example, the multiplication of 3 starts to repeat the same empty box on 33, on 63, on 93. They can see similarities. And so it is easy to mentally build how it can be repeated, and then subtractly make it to another level, 233, 333. They can make this abstraction. Here it is a template of bracelets, and every time a child will have learned and the skip counting of a number, for example, 6, 3, or whatever, and he can say only the results, 6, 12, 18, 24, and this also helps. We congratulate the child, and we give him here a bracelet of the numbers, the skip counting of the number it managed to say. But the most important for me about multiplication is that children don't make the connection of all of these forms, of all of these representations. They need to see a problem being solved with all the types of multiplication, all the approaches in one sheet. So they can they know that this problem may be easily to be solved as a multiplication, as repeated addition. Okay, but this have to be solved as groups. And this, I can do it with skip counting. And one problem can be solved also with the other forms, the other perspectives. So they need to see multiplication as a whole thing, a holistic approach. And I think this connects all the pieces of the puzzle together in their mind, even from the second grade. So it is easy to understand them. Oh, I have this addition here. Oh, perhaps it's multiplication. Let's try to do it with groups. Let's try to do it with skip counting. And they connect the whole thing together. This is what I have prepared for you today. Okay, stop sharing.
Evgaristo, Penelope, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know especially for you, the effort, and I'm sure that you would have prepared to do it in Greek, but I think only Giota here would have understood you. So it's better that you said that in English. Thank you. For sure, remember, when you're communicating in a language that is a little bit more difficult than your mother tongue, it's just, a little extra. And this is also important when you communicate in EduPlat. Remember, in EduPlat, when you upload a resource, you choose the language of the communication. If Penelope, now that you have all these resources in English, you upload in English, it will be better for many people to be able to use it. And the idea is that sharing these resources across countries, we get a lot. And I see also how you got emotional. My little daughter was struggling with multiplications a lot. I think she's gone over that now, but she's going to struggle with other things in mathematics. I'm a mathematics teacher myself. I always taught in secondary school. So her challenges are very, very different to the challenges I encounter as a teacher with my students when we were doing, derivatives and things. So it's very good that you managed to get this activity sorted there. And I'm sure that many of the teachers will be able to comment and give you feedback, okay? Just like we're doing now. Obviously now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the other teachers presenting, and then we can give you, ask you questions and make comments and thank you. But, I didn't want to move on without giving you a double thanks, A, for sharing this resource, and B, for having translated all of that into English. because, you know, if you have the activity already in Greek, it would have been easier. And now that Ruben is here with us, I know that some of you have tried to, well, some people from Greece, some teachers from Greece have already tried to upload resources in Greek language. There was a problem because, you know, the platform didn't like, obviously, special characters. From what Ruben told me, this is working now, and he's nodding now. So, you know, you can upload things in Greek, or you can upload in English. You choose. Obviously, if you upload it in English, then teachers that don't speak Greek might be able to comment. And it is that the whole communication will be in English, but you can have some resources in Greek, some resources in English, some resources in any language you choose. Yeah? Okay, so thank you again. So now we move on to Giota, who is going to present also from Greece, another resource. Giota, whenever you want, you can get the microphone and the board exchanging your screen. Thank you.
Hello. It's my first time. I hope I'll do it well. Share screen. How can I do it? All right. In this presentation, I would like to talk about the interactive calendar. Yes, first I want to introduce myself. I'm a graduate of social theology and the study of religion and occupational therapy. I make my own worksheets especially for early preschool education in order to support preschool children, their parents, and educational community in several educational needs. Let's talk not about the interactive calendar. I think most of you can understand what it is. Let me explain to you. It's a perfect educational tool for teachers and for homeschool parents. Younger students can track its day, month, weather, and season icon as the days go by. There are useful concepts about the interactive calendar. First of all, students can draw pictures and make their own calendar, make it fun. Students can make calendar fun and playful by drawing pictures in order to represent the season and the weather. They can understand it better, I think so. Moreover, teachers can ask questions in order to make it more effective results. They can ask them questions about a certain activity. In that way, the calendar will be associated with real-life events in everyday functional life, organize their daily routine, and schedule the main activities that will take place during the day. Another one concept is a calendar being meaningful and thoughtful. What I mean that it's difficult for little students to understand the meaning of past and future, like the words yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Teachers and homeschool parents can help them make connections by making questions about certain activities that take place in that day, even about the feelings they had. They can talk with them in order to help them reflect on what they did each day of the week and some certain activities. And a last concept is teachers can talk with students about holidays and family traditions that took place on that day. For example, what that holiday is, what we celebrate, and what we can do to make that day a memorable one. To conclude, the interactive calendar can help children learn the use of a daily calendar, the importance of organization, of events and the use of reflection. Teacher can use their imagination and creativity in order to present it in a pleasant way. Thank you. Ευχαριστώ.
Ευχαριστώ, Giota. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Thank you for putting all of this in all the languages of this Congress as well. Well done. So now we're going to move on to Carlos. Carlos is going to be presenting a source from Portugal. Whenever you want, Carlos. Okay.
All right, I think you can hear me now. I think you can see my screen. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be back. And especially good to be back on a Saturday full of very enthusiastic teachers. I'm a PhD. I work and lecture at the Faculty of Arts and Humanities of the University of Porto in Portugal. And I would like to up the ante when it comes to artificial intelligence and particularly ChatGPT. Now, some people in the previous session were suggesting that it is limited, but I've been exploring this tool since November, and I can tell you that it's everything but limited. For teachers, and particularly language teachers, this is a game changer. Now, I'm pretty sure you've been hearing or reading about this company called OpenAI. If this is new to you, well, OpenAI is an artificial intelligence research laboratory consisting of the leading experts in the field of machine learning and deep learning, and they're based in San Francisco, California. They were founded in 2015. So this is not something that has been ongoing since the late 70s, early 80s. It's a very recent company. And according to them, they're committed to designing AI that is, responsible, that will simulate human-like conversation, because it's rooted on this generative pre-trained transformer. Now, we're not going to get into the little details of what is a generative pre-trained transformer, but you'll see with some of the examples I prepared for you today, what it can do. It's curious, and I have to say this, and I apologize if I press any button here. I thought it was interesting when our colleague said previously that it was forbidden in Italy for a month, for a couple of weeks. However, the tourism agency in Italy, in the meantime, created a Venus based on Botticelli's Venus to promote tourism in Italy. So while we forbid AI in Italy, we use it to promote tourism. It's interesting how sometimes we contradict our takes and our positions on AI. Now, as a foreign language teacher, and I train foreign language teachers, and I teach English myself to foreign language learners, ChatGPT was launched in 2018. The current version that we have is GPT-4, and it took ChatGPT 5 days to gain 1 million subscribers. Now, for a company like Netflix, it took them 3.5 years to get 1 million subscribers. It's very interesting how a company like Netflix that was founded in 1999 took 3.5 years, in a company like ChatGPT, in a company like OpenAI, when it rolled out ChatGPT, it took them 5 days. As for language teachers, we can use ChatGPT to plan entire units, lessons, even map out a presentation, maybe a PowerPoint presentation. We can use it to create teaching resources, teaching notes, worksheets, even content for our flashcards, which is very interesting. And we can connect this to some of the apps that were presented and have been presented in other congresses or conferences. We can use ChatGPT to assess our students formatively. We can use it to create checklists rubrics, even content for our Kahoots or similar platforms. And that is very interesting. We can use ChatGPT to help sustain differentiation. We all have SEND students, special educational needs students, and this tool in particular can help us make sure that we run an inclusive classroom. And of course, we can even use it to move forward professionally, and I'll tell you why in a few moments. Let me show you some examples of how to use ChatGPT. Just a word of caution. Every time we log into ChatGPT, we are given some examples, we are remembered and reminded of its capabilities, but also its limitations. And currently, ChatGPT is limited to world events up to more or less 2021. So if you ask it to tell you the biography of Queen Elizabeth II, it will tell you that she is alive. Okay, so word of caution, it's not entirely up to date to content that has happened in 2023, for instance. Now, much to Google's horror, we can use ChatGPT like a little internet search engine, and Google is terrified of it, because when we tap a few keywords in Google Chrome, it gives us thousands and thousands of websites where we can find information connected to our query. But when I use ChatGPT, I can write something like this. This was my prompt. Suggest authors that have written extensively about ELT, in English language teaching, and it will reply in this conversational-like manner. Here are some authors. And if you're not satisfied with this list, you can continue the conversation. Hey, suggest more authors, and it will give you more authors. Or you can even confront it like I did and say, hey, wait a minute, isn't Penny a famous author in the field of ELT? And it concurred. It replied, yes, she is a specialist. And her book, A Course in Language Teaching, is actually a widely used textbooks and teacher training programs. So this is an example. We could use ChatGPT as a little search engine instead of Google Chrome. And in a way, some specialists say that this is Microsoft's revenge. This is going to be the revamp and the return of Bing. Bing is already using ChatGPT technology, OpenAI technology, and Google, or in this case, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, is trying to very quickly provide their own AI, but things are not going very well for Google right now. We could ask ChatGPT for recommendations. I mean, as teachers, we're always, we always have doubts. Hey, how could I do this? I need an idea. We could ask it for a recommendation like this. What's a good film about bullying for my classroom? I'm trying to find a nice film. I need to address this issue. And it provided the following answer. So listen, this is a very generic prompt. I didn't say the age group. I didn't say how many students are in the class. I just asked it for a film. It gave me two suggestions. It suggested a brilliant film called The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I'm sure that most of us have seen. But it also suggested To Kill a Mockingbird, which is also a very nice film and maybe more adequate for older students. I also asked it to tell me and suggest a book about a book dedicated or appropriate to talk about empathy. And it suggested The Giving Tree by Shel Searcy. So we can see that it's very good at giving some very on-point suggestions for our students and for our lessons. We could ask it to provide a classroom activity. I asked it in particular a fun way to teach the past tense to learners of English as a foreign language. And it gave me a very interesting reply. It said, hey, you could use role play. You could use 20 questions. You could think about incorporating songs, videos, or movies that actually use the past tense to provide a more learning experience. And this is something that we learn when we do teacher training and we go to these conferences to find new and innovative ways to teach certain aspects of language. We could have ChatGPT write a lesson plan. Maybe I'm going to have an observed lesson and I need some help. I'm stuck, I don't have enough time. I asked it to write a 90-minute lesson plan for a B1 class with 30 students, and the topic of the lesson was recycling. It provided objectives, it provided the materials I would need, it told me how much time I would spend in each step of the lesson, and finally told me how I should assess the lesson. Now, this is something that we haven't seen before. When we use materials from publishers, sometimes they provide certain lesson plans, but not catered this amount of detail, this amount of sophistication. It can generate prompts for writing and speaking tasks. Maybe I'm stuck, or maybe I want to have different groups in my class discussing different topics. Maybe my book, maybe my materials are a little bit out of date. I want something fresh. Sure, ChatGPT can help you. Generate writing prompts for children attending A2 English on the topic of family. Hey, these are very good prompts. Write a story about a special family tradition. Describe a family member who you admire and why. Create a picture book about a day in the life of your family. All these are possible ideas in my classroom. I can pick and adapt what I want. Another example, generate speaking prompts for teenagers attending B1 English on the topic of healthy lifestyles. What does a healthy lifestyle mean to you? Describe the benefits of eating a balanced diet. What's the impact of technology in your physical health? I mean, this is something that is very different, and it's changing the landscape. Let me give you some more ideas before I finish. Sometimes we are asked to teach a level or to teach a subject that we are not 100% comfortable with. Maybe because it's my first year in teaching. Maybe because I haven't been teaching for a few years and I've returned to teaching. We could use ChatGPT to simplify complex ideas, to help me, the teacher, understand it, and maybe even provide an outline for my students. So I can ask it something as simple as this: explain conditional clauses in simple terms. And if I can use it as a teacher to tutor me, to give me some simplified breakdown of something very complex, my students can use it as well to understand a very complex idea that they're learning depending on the subject. Another way I could use ChatGPT regards quizzes. It can help me create a quiz. Now, this could be a quiz that I can then later print in paper, or I can cherry pick and use it in a Kahoot. It will, I will write my little prompt, create a grammar quiz for young children about the verb to be. It will give me the different options, and it will also give me the answer key, which is very interesting because sometimes we find worksheets online that are very interesting, but they don't have an answer key, and maybe I don't feel comfortable not using a material without an answer key. It can help you draft an exam. It could help you draft, for instance, a reading comprehension exam, very simple exam with multiple questions. It can help you write jokes. Hey, I'm not the funniest person on the planet. Let me ask ChatGPT to come up with a nice joke. Create a joke for a male teenager who loves music but is never on time for class. This is what ChatGPT answered. Why was the music-loving teenager always late for class? Because he was always playing his tunes and lost track of time. Hey, it's not the best joke in the world, but it's pretty decent. It can generate statistics for a presentation. Maybe I want my students to write or debate a certain topic. I can quickly have it generate statistics on a topic. In this case, I asked it to generate statistics on English as a language, debating the importance of English as a lingua franca, as a global language. This is where teachers are very worried. It can draft essays, and it's very good at drafting essays. Many people that write for a living, write scripts for movies or for television shows, are a little worried about this. Is AI going to replace them? Is AI going to replace coursebook writers? Maybe not immediately. But again, you can see that depending on how you write the prompt, it will adapt the level and adapt the tone. Write an essay in a teenage writing style about pollution in Portugal. It writes as if it was a native speaker. Write an essay in a formal writing style. It writes as if it was an adult writing this. Or if I ask it, hey, write the same essay, but as if you are a learner of English. English is not your mother tongue. it would also write the same essay in a very different tone. This is where teachers start getting a little bit scared, like, uh-oh, this might be a problem moving forward. I can have it simplify and tell me the concise history of a certain topic. It can tell me in a paragraph the history of English language teaching. This is very impressive if I need to revise something or if I need to summarize something for my students and give them some notes. I can have it write the biography of an individual that is important for my class. And again, this could be for history class, it could be for English, it could be for any subject where we want to talk about a certain someone. Now, always remember, it's not up to date. If that person has passed away recently, ChatGPT will not tell you that that person is unfortunately dead. It will tell you that he or she is alive. So again, these are some examples. I'm moving forward because this is supposed to be a very short presentation and I'm almost finished. We can have it write CVs and cover letters. And this is why I was arguing in the beginning of my presentation that it is very useful for professional purposes. Maybe I want to apply for a better teaching position in a new school district, and maybe in the private sector. Instead of using EduPlat, which is a little tricky, sometimes it gets a little complicated, I can have ChatGPT draft a CV or a cover letter. It will give me this code, copy it, paste it in a Word document, and I can cater it to my liking. And I can do the same for a cover letter. Prepare a cover letter for an experienced teacher who wants to run for dean, who wants to be the man or the woman in charge of the school. Sure, it can write a draft and then I can adapt it for the purposes and the context I want. If I want my students talking about a potential job interview, doing a role play, or if I want to practice for a potential job interview, ChatGPT can draft you hypothetical questions that can appear in a job interview. Fascinating. 10 seconds, and you have the questions there for you to actually practice. Another use that is very controversial, you can ask it to grade an essay or provide feedback on an essay. When I did it for the first time, I was actually very surprised because it gave this essay the same grade I had given it to my university students. And I was very surprised on how accurate it was without knowing the topic of the essay or without knowing any little detail of this essay. I don't have time to show you what I fed it, but it gave it a B+ and it was the same grade that I had given it. Again, just to summarize, and moving it forward, we can improve existing tests. I'm preparing a little article. I can ask ChatGPT, how can I improve this? How can this be better? I can ask it to extract data from a text. I'm reading a very complex journal article for my postgrad course. Can you tell me what are the key ideas from this article? I don't have enough time. It's too complicated. I don't understand this language because I'm not an advanced user of English or Spanish or another language. I can ask it to help find an idea. Maybe it's an idea for a project I want to have in my school. There are more and more articles online about people who have used this ChatGPT, and actually it gave it a framework to create a company, and people are already making money based on a business model created by ChatGPT. We have an example in Portugal. We could find the meaning behind your students' names. Hey, I want to know, and I want to have this very special lesson where we each learn how special our name is and how it reflects my student's identity. Quickly put in the name of all my students, and it will give me its origin, and it'll give me what it actually means. Interesting. Maybe I have a new student that is a refugee. Could also make this student feel very special. Number 21, it can help with translations. Some people argue that it's even better than Google Translate. I tend to agree that ChatGPT is better in translation than Google Translate, and it can help you make lists. Maybe it's vocabulary lists. Maybe it's a list of irregular verbs. Maybe it's lists of whatever you want. It can help you make lists that could make your life useful and that you could share with your students, or just use it for yourself to remind yourself. Just to finish, I think Bill Gates hit the nail, not only because he's the one investing a lot in OpenAI right now, but when he said in one of his most recent newsletters, the development of AI is as fundamental as the creation of the microprocessor, the personal computer, the internet, and the mobile phone. It will change the way people work, learn, travel, get healthcare, and communicate with each other. Entire industries will reorient around it. Businesses will distinguish themselves by how well they use it. So maybe for some of the critics, I will have to say, artificial intelligence is not going anywhere. We already use it at a very unconscious level. Every time I ask Siri to call my mom or to play that song, I'm using artificial intelligence. It's around me. It's in my smart TV. It's in the speaker I have in my house. It's everywhere. We have to learn it, how to make the best of it, how to use it, and make sure that it's working for us and not we are working for it. And lastly, last slide, if you want to reach out or email me, you can scan the QR code and we can be in touch. Thank you.
Muito obrigado, Carlos. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Remember, guys, that one way that we're going to be able to connect with each other is through the EduPlat platform. Carlos, I think you've already put a few resources. Remember that resource could be anything. I mean, this presentation is certainly a resource. We will put in the category. It was very difficult for us to decide which categories. This one, for example, the best name, we don't have like too many categories. So the best name, the best category I find it, this one would be for psychopedagogy, because at the end of the day, it's something that is helping teachers just for the sake of helping teachers. And it can obviously be used in any subject, like, you know, any subject you teach, you can use many of the ideas that Carlos gave us to teach your subject, for sure. So, you know, go ahead and publish it if you haven't done it already, because IE is not going to publish into EduPlat for you yet. One day, maybe we'll have lots of publications directly. But at the moment, we prefer not to. We prefer humans to publish. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to have, sorry, I was saying about my intervention was because that way, and people can give you, you know, can thank you publicly. I can say things about, you know, maybe your suggestions, because you made a list of 21, which I think are very good. But I'm sure that eventually other people will add many others. And again, I think we humans can do that still better than IE, to give suggestions on how to use IE itself in teaching. And it can create a whole, you know, a conversation going on about uses. Okay. Now I'm going to present now Tomas, who is going to have a presentation on the use of ChatGPT later on this afternoon. And now he's going to present the application results. Go ahead, Tomas, on board the yours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alvaro. Well, I'm Tomás, a primary school teacher. Okay, and I'm going to introduce another resource. Okay, as I explained before, well, I'm carrying out a gamification that the topic is about Pirate of Caribbean, and I have an itinerary with different activities. This is this is the itinerary. I'm going to show you it very fast. I showed it before, but well, maybe you didn't see it. Let's see if the internet works, because sometimes it's very, very slow, the internet. I'm so sorry. Well, wait, to share it. Okay, can you see it? Yes, no? Okay, in this case, when you start a new game, you don't have continue on map, okay? In this case, this is not a new game because I started, because I try the games I play. In this case, can you see the bar, the progress bar? Here, there are different badges you get while you do the different challenges, you get budgets. In this case, this is here a sub itinerary with 5 budgets, and here this is another activity, and here this is another activity. So the activity is the activities that I'm going to introduce is this one. Okay. Well, we have the and we have different challenges. In this case, Captain Barbosa defied us, and we have to overcome all challenges. In this case, it's about maths. We have to do operations and problems. In this case, we start here. You can write your name. In this case, my name is Thomas, because we personalize the game, because they will see their name here. Pupils will see their name here. Hey, Thomas. In this case, you write Carlos, because you can see Carlos is an example, or Juan. Okay, Barbosa has challenged us in a contest, and now here we choose an avatar, as you can see. In this case, choose Jack Sparrow. If you choose Jack Sparrow, you can see here, as you can see here, Jack Sparrow. You can choose another character like Elizabeth Swan. You will see here Elizabeth Swan. I'm going to show you an example. Editor is here, for example. Let's check if we see. If I choose, for example, Elizabeth Swan, we have here another avatar. Okay. Okay, we continue. And in this case, before we face the Barbosa's challenges, we need some practice. In this case of some practice, we have here some operation. They can change the operation if they don't like it. Okay, it's a practice, so this is not the real challenge. And they have 3 minutes, and they can even add more time if we need. And here they have the thing. Okay. Later we have more narrative. Very good. As you can see here, you write the name. You can see here the name. Very good, Thomas. In this case, this is my name. I passed the first challenge. Here I have more operations to practice it, because in the next step we need to face the challenge. In this case, is the timetables, because they are practicing the timetables, and here they have here the feedback. For example, if they mistake, oops, we can do it better. Finally, they have the challenge, and here they have more difficult operations. They can have more time. They have more time. In this case, they have 10 minutes. They can add more time if you don't have, because they have well, to do like minimum 6 operations right. If they do less than six operations right, they have to repeat it. And if they are very slow, they can have more time. We do it in order to attend the there are students who can do the operation faster, and other students who can do it later, who can do it slower. In this case, the final one is we have problems. We have different problems. The problems is about pirates. You know, for example, if you have pirate money or Jack Sparrow come here, we can even put our student, the name, some names of our students here in the problems, in order they feel identified with the problems. In this case, they say the last challenge, they read it. And now, as you will see the challenge. In this case, they have rounds. Okay, I think, yeah, they have 4 rounds. Okay, they have the correct. Estoy seguro. I'm sure that you won't be able. The problems are in Spanish. I'm so sorry. Okay, but for example, if they mistake, they can say they know. Okay. Okay, they have 4 tries. If they mistake the 4 tries, they restart. Okay, and I would like to show you the catch of this of this genially. You can see how I created. Okay, here. Okay, the parameters here. We have a table. Let's see if we can see the table. And here, as you can see in the parameters, I have 6 problems. You know, this is a problem. This is another problem. Different type of problems. Here, I write the, for example, gold, or it depends on the problem that asking for. And finally here, write cartas, tonel, okay, different cañones, okay. And here the names, can you see? Salma, Sahara, Jacob. Well, those are my students. So it can appear, and it appears by random. And those are the problems. I wrote 6 problems, and the problems, it appears by random. For example, here I have the operations. Let's see if we can check it. Okay. I here have the operation. For example, this is the operation. The minimum number is 40, and the maximum is 140. It means that if I write, for example, the dollar V1, okay, in the problem, it will appear any number between 40 and 140. This is the function. For example, this is, you know, we are subtracting. This is a subtraction here. In this case, we have another subtractions. Here I have randoms, any number. It can, for example, if I write this command, it will appear any number of these. This is a division, and here we have, for example, a combined operation. You know, like a subtraction with a division. Okay, and here, for example, this is a multiplication. Dollar 11 and dollar times dollar 12. Okay, and it will appear, and this is the function. If I write for example, dollar 13, the operation that is right will appear this one in the, you know, in the game, in the problem. I wanted to use the extension I take this extension because this extension are made of by Sandbox Education, and you can find this extension here. For example, if you go Genially extensions, for example, you can find here Agora. You can, some extension, well, all extensions are in Spanish. There's some extensions you can find them in other languages like Italian. For example, if I click here, this internet is a little bit slow. I'm so sorry. For example, this is the extension, and when you click on the extension, you will take that extension to your Genially. Okay. In this case, I'm so sorry because the internet is a little bit slow and it doesn't appear. But for example, you have this extension in Italy. If you click here, for example, you will have an access to this extension in Italy. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is so slow. I'm so sorry. Okay. And for example, the Sandbox Max, this is especially to do operations where you can write the formula and your students will have random operations. You can click here. I checked this extension, and you only have this extension in Spanish. But there are other extensions in English and other extensions in German, and other extensions in Italian. So if you're interested to create your own templates for Genially and personalize your gamification or personalize a story like a breakout for your students, this is really good. The thing is, these are not templates. You can hear the commands. So you have an idea. For example, this is Agora. The thing is, you have to learn how to use it. That's it. And later you have your imagination because you have to put your photos and pictures, text. Okay, let's see if you can. Okay. For example, you have here examples. They give you examples how you can create, and let's check if you have. I don't find. Wait. Okay, here. No. Grade book. Yes, and those are the commands you use in order to create the template you want. For example, here the feedback to write an answer, here to write the formulas, the parameters for the problems or sentences. This is the brain in order that the game works. This is the, as you saw here, the correct, for example, if you do rounds, okay? So now you have more idea how you can create your own templates by using well, these commands with Genially, and well, I'll share these templates too, and you can reuse it. I will share it with EduPlat, and even I will share it in Twitter. On Twitter, you can click on reuse it, and you will have all commands, and you can just personalize the template for your students. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Tomás. Thank you very much again for your presentation. So now is the time that we can talk to each other and ask questions. I have a long list of questions for all of you, and I'm sure you have for each other. And obviously time is limited. So we don't need to go round in exactly the same way. So we can say round, and anyone can ask a question to the person that wants to ask questions first. Yeah. Just one comment about what Tomás said. When you share a resource, remember you can share, for example, Tomás can share, for example, this whole pack of gamification. But anyone editing, if it's allowed, editing and say, for example, oh, I have this extension, or I have this set of questions, or this version of the same thing, but now with questions that are a bit more difficult for more advanced students or whatever. Again, that is something that is important. Obviously, if I were to edit the work that Tomás done, I will publish it with mine under my name. I will say, hey, this is a version of what this other resource Tomás published, and then it gets referenced. And all that you have to do is get the URL. EduPlat, as soon as you publish any resource, will give you a URL, an address, and then that address you can use it also to publish when, say, for example, you advertise it on Twitter or any social network. Because if we do that, then what you're doing is you are using the whole platform, and then on Twitter you just have to put a few characters saying, if you want to know more, then go here. And that way, we merge people from all the other social networks into a network of people that are just sharing resources, making comments and valuing. And that's the thing, is very, very important. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have much time. So whoever puts their hand up first, you can ask a question to anyone. Anyone can ask a question to anyone else. And we obviously starting first with questions from people that are in the screen. Okay, so you put your real hand up or your virtual hand up if you want to ask a question. I have many. I'm not going to be able to ask them all. Okay, go Tomás.
I have a question for Penelope, is your name, right? You pronounce Penelope.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Penelope. I saw you that you work with your students. You teach them multiplication. The thing is, I saw the templates, the different templates that are really, really good. I love them. The thing is, I would like to know if you use manipulative, I don't know, objects, or like Cuisinart bars, or I don't know, other different tools for manipulative way, like in order to teach them how to multiply and understand the operation.
Yes, I understand exactly what you want to say, and these sheets that I have created are created with this way, so you can add things like pom-pom, small balls, or blocks, or something else manipulative. And you can also, if I could share my screen again. There is I have also a sheet with puzzles that they can add together multiplications that have the same result and use their hands, in other words. Okay, here. Give me a second. Here are the puzzles. They cut. They can put them and mix them and find a mix and match game. They can play it like this, and there are different types of these things. There are also these cards of multiplications. They can make it for the keys. How it's called? I don't know the word. And the bracelets, they can print them on colorful sheets, so they are more playful. But the most important that you said about the manipulative is here. They can make the groups with objects and little rows or a piece of rubber for here. Okay, and use them with as they want, as it is easier for the children to understand.
And I have another question related to this one. In the moment they understand the algorithm, okay, they know that the multiplication is a repetitive addition. What technique do you use in order they can memorize the timetables? Like just singing, or I don't know. Okay, how do you?
Okay, I haven't got that far. I think there are some poems or some tricks with it, like the multiplication of 9, and they know that they go, 1 times 9 is 9, I know it, but then there is 1, I don't know it, 2, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, and then let's count them again from down to up, and they make 81, 72, and they can create with a multiplication of 9 like this. There are some tricks with this, but mostly with the puzzles, that helps a lot. And those boards of skip counting, I think the skip counting helps to memorize better.
Evgaristo, Penelope, thank you very much. Now that we're asking you a moment, from what you said also, all these resources, I guess, how much do you allow teachers to edit and to change of the work you've done, and eventually, adapt it to their own needs? And how easy is that to be done?
Okay, yes, in this way you put it there in PDF file that they can change, but they, especially in Greece, teachers get ideas from other resources they find online. They can download it, print them, and cut some parts, use their own. You can copy like a photograph, some parts that you would like. It's free for me. And if it is on their good heart to mention my name for some of the work I've made, but I don't really care. It's for me, it's helping teachers find new ways to teach their children, and some ideas to when they're stuck and they don't know what to do next.
Okay, thank you, Evgaristo. Yeah, that's the idea. Remember that EduPlat, you choose how much access you give to people. It's fine to put a PDF and say you can copy but not edit. We recommend the Creative Commons licenses, and you choose which one. Say, for example, in Spain, you say, well, I don't mind you copying it, but you have to put exactly what it is with my logo or whatever, and that's fine, still it's good that teachers respect the other work, and it's good that already you're sharing. So thank you for doing that. Hopefully we'll see all of these and then variations that you do in your profile in EduPlat. Okay, now that I'm with the microphone and since there are not many hands up, I'm going to ask a question to Carlos, yeah? Obviously, and it's very interesting now talking about copyright. Obviously, artificial intelligence doesn't have a copyright yet. At least it looks like, so we can copy what they do. And it looks like there are many people already say, well, you know, I'm putting now like a model of something, who gets the credits for that? We presume that is whoever first asked it and adapted to the needs. My question is related to that. You know, first of all, how do you access? Maybe it's the basic question. The way you access, for example, ChatGPT was through the Telegram. You mentioned also that there is a possibility of accessing the technology through the search engine Bing. Now, how do you think is best for teachers to access in a way that we use any of the many applications that you mentioned? And then also, how do you get that information quickly and put it wherever you want it? For example, if you're asking ChatGPT to create a quiz, how do you do that best? And then how do you export it more easily, for example, in Kahoot or Quizzes or any other platform? Because that is where our time as teachers is going to be invested. Getting the ideas, adapting them, and then also putting them in the platform that we feel is best.
Right. So I think we're all going to be very surprised in the upcoming months because one of the most promising updates from the Microsoft front is that one of the updates we're going to see in Office, PowerPoint, Word, and Excel in a very near future is going to be powered by the technology of OpenAI. So in a very near future, we won't have to be worried about going to OpenAI, creating an account on ChatGPT, and actually asking this question, copying, pasting it to wherever we want. In the very near future, and it's closer than we imagine, the tools that we use nowadays to write our tests, make our presentations will be powered by AI. In the meantime, we could do a very classical approach, and that is what most people are doing. They have an account on OpenAI. One of the issues with OpenAI is that they want to make a profit. Everything is about money, unfortunately, about this world, and you will eventually be confronted with the fact that although it's free for the time being, if you pay $20 a month or 20 something, depending on the currency you use in your country, you can have access to a version of ChatGPT that allows you unlimited access and allows you to keep it going without it crashing. If you use a free version, it will eventually crash and it will say our servers are overloaded and please come back later. You know, unfortunately, we all the free tools or freemium tools come to some kind of situation. I think right now it's very important. I think your question is very difficult to answer because it's multi-layered. On the one hand, you need to be very wary of what you want ChatGPT to provide. Asking it to give you a test, sure, it'll give you a test, but it'll make up anything. When it does not have clear information, it will make up information. So you need to be very clear on, I want you to create questions on this topic for children that are this age, in this grade. I want these many questions and I want an answer key or not. And then you can have it generate a first set of questions. If you're satisfied with them, great. If you're not satisfied, you can ask it to regenerate questions until you are actually satisfied with what you have. And then you could manually copy paste it to Kahoot, to a Word document where you would save all these questions and answers, or whatever tool. One of the things that you will be, maybe if we continue to have these online conferences, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, one of the interesting things is that the competing companies that are working against or simultaneously already have a presentation platform powered by AI. So it's already possible to go to some of these competitors and say, prepare me 20 slides on this topic, and it will prepare you a beautiful presentation. And of course, this is going to bring a lot of questions for us, because as educators, are we giving students marks on the level of creativity? Because if we are, then we might have to think about how we're going to allocate these points, because or else we might be, just grading the amount of creativity that the AI or the version of AI they're using is providing. How can we use it? Go to OpenAI. I can share the link, create an account, start exploring it. I think the best way to go and tackle it is tackle it forefront.
You're not sharing the screen yet, Carlos, if you want to.
Sure. Just give me a second. I'm not using my laptop, but I think I can log in very quickly. I'll show OpenAI. If you want me to ask it a specific question, would you like me to, can you think of a specific question that you would like me to ask ChatGPT?
In my case, for example, I have a specific, like I'm taking, for example, a school of people around London, and I want to get a quiz of what they have seen, but not anywhere in London, the places that I've seen. For example, I take them to the British Museum, and a quiz about what, a quiz for 12-year-old children that have visited the British Museum.
So let me see if I get this straight. So I'm going to choose the most advanced version. I'm going to use ChatGPT 4, which is slightly slower but more accurate. So create a quiz for children. How old are these children?
12-year-olds.
Okay, so for children, 12 years old. Did I get it London? Is it London that you want?
Let's make it a British Museum, because otherwise it's going to be... Welcome, young explorer. So it's already putting
it's already giving you a context, and then you could adapt to what you want. And this could be a lead-in for a class that is going to be about British Museum. Maybe it's going to be a petty paper in London, where it can be whatever you want. So this is the first set of examples. Later I could, copy paste it into a Kahoot, into a quizzes, into whatever, into a Google Forms if you want. If you want to, depends on the environment you use. You want to make sure that you keep everything within that environment. So I didn't give it a number, a limited number. I said, so it's going to give me up to 10 questions. As you can see, it's ChatGPT 4 is slightly slower. If ChatGPT 3.5 is faster, but not as accurate as ChatGPT 4. And then it's giving you the answer key at the very end. And you don't have to solve the puzzle on your own. So if you're not happy with this, you could either edit the prompts and change one of the variables. Maybe it's not 12-year-olds, maybe it's teenagers, and maybe it's not about the British Museum, it's about the Tate Museum, and then you would submit it again. If you don't want to change the prompt and you want to get a new set of questions, I just press this and I get a new set of questions. I get different options for my question.
And then I guess you can just check the questions that you want. Now, obviously here the matter is that, for example, with Kahoot, copying and pasting all the questions will be relatively easy, but then you have to manually select the questions that are right and the... I mean, it doesn't take as long as
remember the amount of time that you are already taking away from creating and drafting the questions, So, I mean, this is already saving time for you to dedicate and maybe create 2 different quizzes, one quiz for a set of students, a different quiz for the special educational need quizzes within the same topic. it gives you more time to think about how can I make sure that this is adapted to all the children that are sitting in front of me for the 20, 30, I don't know how many students you have in your classroom. In my classroom, sometimes I have 50 students because I teach in higher education. So how can I make sure that this is adequate? Because we also have special educational needs in higher education. I know sometimes we forget, like, oh, you're going to university now, you don't get any special treatment. That is not exactly the case in Portugal. We, as university teachers, we do get emails saying, warning, you have a student with this specific profile. These are some recommended actions you take when preparing a lesson or evaluating the student. And now you could continue the conversation, and you could now type in connected to what you asked it previously about the British Museum. You could ask it a different question or a different task. You could ask it, create a reading comprehension activity about the museum. Sorry if I'm typing very fast, so I apologize for any typo. It's creating this reading comprehension for you. You didn't have to Google it. You didn't have to spend countless times adapting something you found on Google, maybe on a newspaper. Of course, you have to fact check it. Of course, I'm not going to take everything at words value. I'm going to make sure that everything is accurate. But you know what? Maybe I don't have to teach with a course book anymore. Maybe I can create my materials, and I can make sure that the materials I'm using for reading, for writing, for speaking, depending on the subject I teach, are catered explicitly for the students in that neighborhood, in that context. We know that course books are too general or too broad because they want to sell. They want to, publishers write course books that can work anywhere. And right now with 21st century learning and 21st century approach, we want to make sure that we are very close to the audience. We're very close to the interests of our students. And this allows us to do that. This allows us to tap in and say, hey, this book was published 6 years ago. These texts, I mean, it still talks about Ronaldo training in Real Madrid or whatever. He doesn't even, he's not even playing there anymore. Let me make sure I get very interesting texts that are catered to their interests. So this would be a follow-up, hey, exploring the British Museum. So I have the quiz as a lead-in. I have the reading comprehension. I would have to check it, make sure that these questions are adequate for the students I have. Maybe I'm just going to select 2 questions. Maybe I'm going to use all of them. It depends. We're the ones that are in charge of selecting if we're going to use this material. And then, I could go in and say, hey, create a writing situation where they write an essay about the British Museum or write a report. You could have ChatGPT outline how to write a report first. So these are the steps in report writing. And now you have the rules, you have a template, you have a sample. I mean, how many times have we asked our students to do things and they didn't have a model because the book didn't provide a model? Sometimes our course books say, now go out and do this writing. And it was so decontextualized of what the work we were doing. It didn't even, feed upon the previous pages. This allows us to fill in the gaps. This allows us for a level of personalization that even if you're very insecure in your teaching, even if you're very, I don't know if I'm able to go solo without the book. I think with tools like this, you have that extra layer of confidence. Say, no, I think I am able. I have this, it sounds, there's no grammatical mistakes, there's no scientific mistakes. Let's go for it. Let me take risks. Let me do something new with my students.
Thank you, Carlos. Obrigado. Yeah, we're running out of time now, so we're going to have to move on. Obviously, there is we have many possibilities with that. And as you said, I'm pretty sure that eventually there will be platforms that will have integrated everything, because at the end, if what we want to do is produce a quiz, then why not produce a quiz that can produce itself and is already fed with the template that we want in Kahoot? Maybe in EduPlat we can work on that. I'm sure that we have many possibilities. Ruben is probably thinking about what we can do there. At the moment, what we can do, remember, if you generate anything, whether you generate it with your own intelligence or imagination or with ChatGPT or whatever, you can put it, because if there is work and you think it's useful for your students, it might be useful for someone else's students, and that's the case. You can say you can put the source as, you know, these are created with artificial intelligence, but it's still good. Yeah. More questions? I think Thomas has a question here. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for this. Now, I like to add something about ChatGPT. You're talking about you to create quiz for Kahoot. Well, in Kahoot, you can download and like an extension. Well, it's like an Excel, and you can create a table with questions with everything, and you can copy and paste there. Then you upload to Kahoot, and you have the question directly. You don't have any work to do that.
And does he connect also the answers as well? Or
yes, the answer. For example, I can give an example, very fast example.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
I have a question for Guillermo, but yeah, we have 10 minutes. Let's do it. Go,
yes,
go.
Okay. Sometimes in Twitter, I can find prompts for GPT that are really good. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, I have to find my. Okay, this one. Okay, for example, well, the prompt is in Spanish, but well, you can see it. Okay, this is a prompt that I just copied it. Okay, and it makes a table. And this is, for example, I have to create present simple in English, but it doesn't. It's not creating the table. Wait a second. Let's check again, because it can create tables too.
With ChatGPT, you can.
Yes. Now it's creating now. Yes.
Okay.
So you can copy this table, and well, you have to check it, because sometimes ChatGPT make mistakes. For example, the correct answer says BAA. Well, here in the prompt it says that it has to write to 1 to 4. Can you see this? This is the prompt. In this case, ChatGPT mistook here. Okay, so we can make another. What can we do here? We can rewrite the prompt again in order that he can mistake, or they can correct the mistake, or we can change it manually. But in this case, we copy this table. We copy this table. In this case, it's not working. It's not working very well. I don't know if it's the internet or what's happening here. But we can copy this, you know, and we go to Kahoot, and when we make a question, we can download like an Excel. We paste this Excel, this table in that Excel, and then we upload this Excel on Kahoot, and we have the
whole thing done.
Yes, even with the time. Can you see here the time? 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Even the time we in Kahoot have.
Okay.
So,
excellent. Thank you, Thomas.
So that's very fast.
very fast indeed. Obviously, again, there is work for us teachers to check, to make sure, and to see how they respond. And this is why we feel that EduPlat is very important, because it's not just the work that you do on your own and with artificial intelligence and with all these questions. It's when you actually apply with students that you get feedback from them, and you see, yes, I thought that this was going to be easy, but it's ended up a little bit more difficult. And this work that we're doing, if we do it also together, if many teachers are using our resources, then it's great, because we can get more done. Okay, we have only 5 minutes left. I have many questions for many people. Anyone would like to ask a question for any other participant before we finish? Okay, so the question I had was for Jota, yeah? And I really like the idea of the interactive calendar, yeah? And it's true that especially, primary school children, right from the past, present, and future, it's already difficult to think about it. But my question is, like, how do you create this content in the calendar? So you're doing it manually, because obviously the graphics seem to be very nice, but how and who creates the content about this interactive calendar?
If I understand who think it to create this interactive calendar, who made it? Did you ask me that?
I'm asking, like, once you have the interactive calendar, I don't know if it was you creating it or someone else, but how can you change the content of that interactive calendar so that you teach whatever you want to teach?
I have a little son. Now he is going to school. And I thought about it because they're trying to learn about the days, months. So I made a picture, a draw, that it's with a fun way, it's with beautiful colors. And the days, the months, he can. Someone can cut the, sorry for my English, they cut and paste on the calendar every day and help them learn the days, the weather.
Okay, so basically you've had like many suggestions about many uses of that interactive calendar, because at the end of the day, you know, it's a possibility. You know, you can teach the languages, you can teach about the nature, the weather, and as long as it's related to the calendar is good. Yeah, thank you. Evgaristo, Giota. Evgaristo. Now we have 2 minutes left, and I have one question that will take maybe a long time. But you know, if anyone has any question. Okay, so my open question, yeah, and this I guess is going to be interesting for Ruben. I don't know if you're still there, for Carlos and Tomas especially. I'm also taking, you know, direct tours, yeah, and educational tours, and I want the students to participate. I know that with, you know, what Carlos showed us, is like we can get the artificial intelligence to generate these questions, which is good. I want the students to generate the questions, because I know that asking questions makes you think about what you've learned. Even more than answering, right? So using, for example, Kahoot, and they can use a combination of artificial intelligence and all of this. How can we get the students to get the questions in a multiple choice, give the correct answer, but then all of these questions from many students, and I'm going to have like 50 students there to generate, say, a Kahoot, but with all the questions from all the students together in a way that I use as little time as possible, because I don't have much time. I don't know if you got my challenge. The challenge, yeah, I have 50 students, and I want to ask them, maybe in groups, maybe individually, to generate questions, but ideally that they create themselves. They ask a question, they get the 4 answers, and they tell me which one is the correct one. And I want them to do in a way that with the mobile phones, they can put the questions, they feed them somewhere that I can retrieve, and then boom, I create a big Kahoot with the 50 questions for the 50 students. Obviously, each student is going to get right his or her own question, but the matter is, how do I do all of that all together? Penelope has he's got her hand up. So you go first, Penelope.
Okay, I have the answer, I think. You can make an Excel on Google Excel. How is it called? Google Sheets, and it's cooperative. Everybody can link to it, sign in with their Google account, and right on the table you have formatted here question, here the options, and the last column the answer, just like the ChatGPT showed before.
Very sorry, Penelope.
That and go up to Kahoot.
There is one problem with that. If we do that, then all the students will get to see the questions and the answers. And I don't want them to do that. I want them to feed me with this, and at the end they get that. Yeah. I guess using maybe the Google form or something. Anyone? Anyone else? Well, that was a good idea. Good idea, Penelope. And it would work, but not quite the way I wanted. Anyway, okay, go ahead.
Well, I know. Oh, sorry. I know, for example, Edpuzzle, if you know the application Edpuzzle, that's especially to do flip learning. They watch a video and later they answer questions. Now, I didn't try yet, but I have to try that. They can you can create questions thanks to artificial intelligence, and they correct automatically, for example, and that's very interesting.
And if it's into puzzle?
Edpuzzle,
questions.
yeah,
Okay,
Edpuzzle,
wow.
yes, that's a new tool, you know, like a revolution, you know, with
Yeah.
Edpuzzle, because Edpuzzle is publishing this a lot, and I have to admit that I didn't try, but I will try it.
Anyway, what is for sure is that from what we've seen, the world is changing very, very quickly, and we teachers need to adapt it. And I think, you know, I've learned so much just from this roundtable, and I really want to thank you all, and Jota, Penelope, Thomas, Carlos. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas, your resources. Please go ahead and continue doing that in the EduPlat form. I know that it's not quite the same as in the Congress format. Obviously, we remember that we have this afternoon, we have again language channels. You can pick up your channel, and then later on we'll have again another roundtable with many teachers that you invited, all of them. Yeah, we're going to have a break from now till 3:30. At 3:30, we'll continue with the language channels, and then at around 5 o'clock, again with the main channel. But I don't want to finish off without saying thank you, and please go ahead and give all your ideas, put them in EduPlat, and also remember to visit everyone's ideas, because we teachers love when people tell us thank you very much for this, and continue your work. Yeah, especially when you do it for free, is extremely important. Thank you, and I'll see you later, guys. See you. Enjoy the break. Bye.